So hi Akash, in this question you have to create one parent component and one child component. Okay. The API call will go in parent component, and in child component what you have to do is you need to create one input box with a button, and then input box will take an ID and you have to show a message from the API by passing that particular ID. Okay. So what you can do now is you can open any online code editor of your choice and you can start coding. Hi Pranay, I have one question. Like as you told that I have to create one input box and a submit button, and we need to show a message from the API. So by default, how it will work? Like by default, it should be like empty message, or by default, do we need to show some message for a particular ID? So Akash, good question. What you can do is by default, you can take the default ID as one and show the message for the default ID. And after that, when the user will type in any other particular ID like apart from one, then you can make another API call and show the message on the basis of that particular API call. Got it, thanks. So now what I can do is I will simply open a online code editor like StackBlitz, and what I will do is I will simply create a new project and using JavaScript. Okay, so we are going to create a parent in which we are going to keep the API call and a child with input box, ID and submit button. Cool. So now what I will do is I will treat this app.js as my parent component, and over here I can create one folder that will be components folder, and inside the components folder I will create one file that will be post component.js, something like this. So this will be my child component. So first of all, what I can do is let's remove this entire code. So now what I can do is I can simply create a post component over here, something like this. Okay, and let's do export default post component, something like this. And over here what I can do is simply I will import React from React like this, and over here I will do simply return. Okay, so what I can do is I can simply create my HTML first. It will be input box input. Okay, it will be input type equals text, and we can give it a placeholder. Over here we can have some state bind over here like value, and okay, so we need to have our own change handler as well, and I can give it like handle ID change or page change, something like this kind of a handler. Okay, now what I can do is I can simply create a button, something like this, and in button I can give it submit. Okay, and over here we can have a on click, something like this. Okay, so for on click I can expect something like handle submit from props, and okay, after this I can have a simple div for storing the message, like any message could it be. So this will be my basic structure. After over here what I can do is I can simply have all these things from the props like value, handle page change and handle submit. Okay, and okay, so it's giving error. Okay, so we need to wrap it inside one parent element. So yeah, so okay, so now with what I will be doing is I will simply import it, import post component from /components / post component. Okay, I will just simply copy it, and over here inside this I think we don't need these extra divs. Cool. So yeah, So my I have created the UI. Okay, so my UI is ready. Now what we can do is let's move it step by step. So first of all, I think, okay, so to handle the, like, input, I can say it ID, or I can say page, like let it be the page, and I can use use state, and by default I can keep it 1 because we have to provide the default value as 1. Now over here what we can do, we can simply take the use state from React, and let's go step by step. Okay, so as we know, okay, so so what we can do is, let's create the functionality to display the data, basically default data first. So inside the use effect we can make the API call something like this, and over here what we can do, we can have one component, basically function, that is fetch post, and now what we can do is, okay, fetch post. Okay, so hello, I have one question, like, can I use any API, like online API, dummy JSON data? Yes, please. You can make use of any online API that will return a dummy JSON on the basis of ID. So yeah, you can use. Sure, thanks. Okay, so I can make use of this particular API as, okay. So over here, what I can do is I can simply make use of fetch to make the API call, and I can simply pass this particular API, and as this API takes the ID, so I can simply pass it the page over here, something like this, and okay, so we can use dot then. Okay, so rather than using dot then dot catch, we can make use of await over here, async await, and I will make this function async. Okay, and over here, and after this what we can do is we can have post equals await response. I think it's response.json. Okay, something like this. And finally what I can do, I need to set this into state, so I can what I can do is I can take some sort of data, basically state for storing the data, post set post, something like this, and yeah, and by default I can give it a value of empty array. Okay, so it is giving use effect is not defined, so for this I can simply make use of use effect over here, and yes, now let's simply set the post by simply setting post something like this. Cool. So in order to in order to achieve that particular task, that is to render the default message, what I can do, I can simply call fetch post, and now it will make an API call, and okay, and over here, okay, so value and handle page change. So I think we need to create some of these functions. Okay, so but before that what we can do is, okay, so let's have a look at the data first, like what kind of data are we going to get. So console.log, let's see, what we are getting. Okay, so we are getting a body, ID, title. Okay, and we need to render the title. So what we can do, so over here I can simply pass data, and to data I can simply pass post, something like this, and over here also we can destructure the data, something like this, and yes, over here what we can do is we can simply do data dot title, something like this. Cool. Okay, and let's suppose the data is undefined. If the data is undefined, so we can handle a case by using optional chaining, or we can also like have some sort of like if data, basically if data is available, then only show this particular div, or else no need to render this particular div. So this will also work. Okay. Now what we need to do is inside the app.js. Okay. So we have started getting the data for ID1, but over here the default ID1 is not present. So what I can do is I can simply create this particular handle page change. Cons handle page change, and inside this we can simply set page to the value that we are going to get, something like event dot target dot value, something like this. And simply what we can do, we can also create the handle submit by simply giving it handle submit. And inside the handle submit, what I can do is I can simply call this fetch post, because on the submit also we need to call the API, and rest of the thing will be done by the fetch post function only. Now we can simply pass all these functions via props, and over here also handle submit we can pass something like this. Okay, so one more thing, let's see if it is, yeah, it's working fine. Cool. Okay, so I think it should work. Let's see when we click to. So yeah, it's fetching the data. Let's refresh the page. By default, but we are not getting anything over here, but by default it should be 1. So okay, cool. So over here this is the value that we need to send in order to set it. So over here we can set the state over here, like value equals to page, because when we are changing this input we are actually changing the state, that is page. So we need to pass this particular value over here, like value equals to that particular state. So cool, we have handle page change, we have submit, we are also showing data dot title, and what else? Okay, so let's remove the console dot log, and let's see if it is working. For 2, yeah, we are getting data. For 3 also we are getting data. Cool. So yeah, it's working fine. I've completed the functionality. Cool, Akash, can you walk me through the code? Sure. So what I've done is I've treated this app component as a parent component, and inside this I've handled all the logic, like I have made this API call over here, and to render the default message I have called it in use effect first, and then I have created these two handlers, handle submit for submit click, handle page for this input field change. Then I have created this child component that is taking these particular props like value, handle page change, handle submit, and data. And over here I have simply created a HTML, and over here I have added one check that if we have the data then only show this particular div. Okay, and I have also added this one check that optional chaining check, that if data is undefined then it should not throw an error that cannot find property of undefined. But as we have added this particular check, so we can also remove this check, doesn't matter. So yeah, so it's working fine, like it's fetching the data. Cool, Akash. So yeah, just send me the link of that particular code editor that you have just done, and that's it from my side. Do you have any questions? So friends, now what you can do is you can ask few questions if you have, and those questions I've already shared in this particular video. You can go check it out. Okay, and friends, you can one-to-one connect with me for interview tips and mock interviews over this particular link. And friends, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It takes hard work to create such videos. And if you guys will, do some comments, some positive comments, so it will really motivate me to keep on making such kind of videos. And thank you for watching. We'll be meeting in next video. Thank you very much. Bye.